Hey everybody, I hope you all are having a great Saturday. Um, this is Gabriel Ventura, Mr. Texas Esquire 2020. Um, I just thought, for this week's challenge, it's what makes a man and the definition of a man. And I really appreciate everybody responding on Facebook and Instagram and to the posts and things of that nature. Um, it kind of really made me think about a lot of different things. It kind of made me realize also. Um, Sometimes we have to face things internally about ourselves or about our past or about our culture, the way we've grown up. And there's a lot of different things to go over this topic. Ultimately, I love that a lot of people really discussed things such as, like integrity, being there for other people, advocating, using your voice, using what you have for good for others, security, things of that nature. I remember a few years ago, I saw the documentary, The Mask We Live In, and they talked about people feeling as if growing up in as a male, it's you hear things like don't cry, don't be a sissy, that's for girls, things of that nature, don't be a wuss, don't be a punk, grow some balls, be a man up, stuff like that. And these words kind of help condition, or let me rephrase that, these words unfortunately condition people's state of mind, what they think of a man is or shouldn't be, or the expectations that people have from society or culturally. I know, as a Hispanic male, there's instances, growing up where it's like, know your place, know your role, you're a kid, this is a man's situation, things of that nature. And, I can understand that, there's some things that are too adult for kids to get involved in and things of that sort. But also one thing I've really had to learn is to use my voice for good and for patience and for other people who don't have the opportunity, the voice to use. And that really made me realize about helping other people and loving and having compassion and care for things of that nature. I know that there's also, that's culturally, everyone's culture is different. Sometimes, they discussed where you grew up, how you grew up, sometimes growing up without a father. Me, myself, my mom was a single mother, I'm number 4 out of 5. There's ways that, sometimes I would think back and I'd be like, oh, who's going to teach me how to shave my face? Who's going to teach me how to ride a bike? My neighbor taught me how to ride a bike, and just things like that. You don't really think about stuff of that nature, and you kind of wonder and think like, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? And you feel like you want those examples of men in your life. And I'm very thankful to have, amazing uncles and people in my life that I've gotten to know as well, and cousins and family members and friends that teach me every single day what the definition of a man is. Someone who loves unconditionally, who will stand up for the right thing, who is independent but not afraid to ask for help, who is loving, giving, caring, compassionate, has integrity and morals. They treat other people the way they would want to be treated. Sometimes people get stuck in, gender roles, things of that nature. There's nothing. I remember when I used to work for HEB, when the guy said, he used to tell me, hey, primo, one of the sexiest things a woman could see is a man sweeping. And I would, laugh to myself about it, because, he was a lot older than me. And it's interesting how, I'm 33 years old now. And you grow up with this, old school or traditional mentality or thinking from your parents and the generations before, and now we have these kids growing up in a different generation, and we're kind of right in the middle where we're able to take certain things and really make them our own and teach our future different understandings of what it's like to be a man or to be a person, just a good person in general. So it really kind of shows that you have we're in the middle of this bridged gap, and for myself, I look at my uncles and, my elders, and I look at my nieces and nephews, and I understand that, the things that I do reflect and teach them on what it's like to grow and in this world and the things of that nature. The way I carry myself and the way I treat others is very important as well. It's not always all bad. I can remember laughing about different things. But you do realize, sometimes, when you're in high school, you're a kid or whatever, it's like, hey man, have a beer, or hey, whatever, or whatever, and stuff like that. My cousins used to laugh and talk about, and, especially being gay, it's in just something of that nature of like, oh, you just need to find yourself a good woman, oh, you need to do this or do that. It's always, you need, you gotta, you shoulda, woulda, coulda, or whatever. And, especially being gay, it's in just something of that nature of like, oh, you just need to find yourself a good woman, oh, you need to do this or do that. It's always, you need it, you gotta, you shoulda, woulda, coulda, or whatever. And, especially being gay, it's it's also mainly just finding your voice and what works for you without hurting anyone else. There's always the intent of, are you doing the next right thing by your ownership and your actions for yourself and for other people. Sometimes we get caught up in like what's defined as masculine. Um, a lot of people use the word toxic masculinity. I don't always like that word because it sounds a little, to me it's more like, I think, like people being super macho machismo. So talk it makes it sound like masculinity is not good, and masculinity can be a good thing. It depends on how you define it, with the way you look at it. Jerk behavior is, I guess, will be that context of toxic masculinity or macho-ness, or like, things of that nature. Masculinity sometimes is seen as strength, endurance, knowledge, independence, strong-willed, standing up for what's right. There's nothing wrong with masculinity in that form or fashion. You look at things where people say boys play sports, boys do this, do that. You shouldn't be able to limit yourself on what you're able to do. We're not defined necessarily by what we're wearing and things of that nature. I know sometimes, especially, when the term metrosexual came around, a lot of people would be like, oh, is that guy gay? It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good, take care of yourself, love yourself, be stylish. That's, future generation of gentlemen. You look back at the 1920s, the suits they wore, things like that. The upkeep, you go to the barber shop, you get a haircut, things like that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to take care of yourself, be presentable, and look good as a male, and, there's instances, even in the generation we have now, with a lot of different visibility and inclusiveness and diversity, we'd see different aspects of, or think different aspects of what a male is supposed to be like. I have transgender friends, I have straight, gay, non-binary, all across the board types of friends and people in my life, colors, races, cultural things, and it's always interesting to hear their thoughts on these things, because my journey is not always the same as someone else's journey, and I can always learn and take things away from that. I think sometimes we get caught up in like this over sexualization about things. I'm comfortable with my body, I feel comfortable, I like my body, I also have those insecurities, and I think people sometimes feel like a man is defined by how much he can lift, I believe Jeff had said, versus how much he can contribute in a good manner and way. I was actually watching The Family That Prays last night. I love that movie, and when the wife was saying something along those lines, they're like, I thought you were supposed to take care of me, that's a man's job, things like that. And it gives these identities to these roles of like what a man or a woman is supposed to be doing in a relationship. We will all want to be treated equally, and there should be nothing demasculating about an empowering woman, doing what she's got to do, working hard and making money and furthering herself and educating herself. Now, granted, that movie is different. She didn't do all those things. I'm just saying, like, in general, when people want to throw that out there, like a man is supposed to take care of a woman, he's supposed to do all these things. Yes, you can be there emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, in those different aspects. But times are so different too, where women are breaking that glass ceiling. They're making more money. They're making a difference in this world, and I love that. I appreciate that. That's amazing. And you always want to praise your counterparts, regardless of your situation. And gay, straight, bisexual, whatever the case may be. And I think a lot of people sometimes think that a man is like monetary, superficial, money, finances, and things like that. You should be responsible with your money, of course. Make the right investments. Make sure that you're doing what you need to do. Take care of, credit is really important. I wish that they taught things like this in school. There's times I've been able to share my wisdom growing from the men and women around me that help define me as a man, because it's not just men that define other men, that help you define your identity as a man. It's women, children, people, the way you treat others, your fields of work, or just the walks of life. Sometimes you can be walking down the street, and I like to be very gentlemanly. I'll open doors, things like that. I believe in chivalry, and I have a really good friend. She's always like, you don't gotta open the door for me, I can do it for myself. I'm an independent woman. And I love that. It makes me laugh in a good hearted way, because she's so strong and wanting to do what she wants to do. And I'm always like, all right, girl, cool. It's embedded in me to look after you and to care for you and love for you the best I can, because it's also my duty as a man to show the people in my life, the women, men, whoever, what a strong man is, by standing on your, showing your goals, your integrity, your heart, things like that, advocating for others. And I just tell her, hey, I understand you can do these things on your own. You can open your door on your own. You can pay for your food on your own. You can do this. You can do that. I totally understand. I totally respect that. But I want to be able to do this for you too, because there are some things that, sometimes we get caught up in, to where it's not necessarily expectations of men, but it's gentlemanly to want to do some things, certain things. I tend to be a big person. I guess maybe it's also like a Southern thing, maybe a Texas thing, or something just culturally, where it's like you show up to someone's house and you bring a gift, you bring flowers. It's etiquette, it's social graces. And I think maybe that's just me and how I grew up, because there's times where people are like, oh my God, I didn't think to bring you're so nice, you brought a card to this person's party that you were just invited to because it's my friend's friend. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to show up empty-handed. I don't know him well enough to get him a great gift, but I'm going to bring something, the way you handle yourself socially, you speak impeccably with your languages, your tongue, your words, your actions, things of that nature. Physically, it's not all muscles or tan or short hair. Guys come in all different forms and shapes. There's, I've seen different people, that are some of the most amazing men, and I met them in my life, in all different forms. People tend to get this preconceived notion about, either bikers or people with tattoos or crazy hair or piercings or whatever the case may be, but they're some of the most kind-hearted people I've ever met, and they've done so much for others. So I think sometimes, culturally, emotionally intelligent man is an important thing. It's not sissy or punk to be empathetic towards somebody else. It's not, a sissy or punk thing to know that someone's hurting and reach out to them, or to say, I love you. I know a lot of people sometimes struggle with showing affection to others, and, everyone has their own different ways. And sometimes, you think to yourself like, oh, I wish they would have said this, or I need you to say I'm proud of you. And I even tell my nieces and nephews and, people in my life, I go, oh my gosh, I know you're probably over me telling you how much I love you or whatever. I go, I just want you to know, because it's important that you know. And I like to praise the people I love and care about. And so, I understand and I get that. And not everyone has those things in their life. My relationship with my dad is not the best. And I try to work on that. And sometimes there's only so much you can do. I understand that not everyone's going to have the same characteristics or definitions of what a man is. And the good thing is, a lot of these things that people discussed, on Facebook and Instagram that we've been looking at earlier through the week, kind of just coincide with just being a good person and a good human being. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for everyone to help, understanding that. And it's not about accolades. It's not about how many people you sleep with. It's not about how many awards, how much money is in your bank. Spiritually, at the end of the day, you want to do the right thing for yourself and the next right thing for the next right person, so that way you can carry yourself with integrity and pride and honesty. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to do that or be there for the people. I feel like I kind of touched base on a lot of different things. I was a little anxious about talking about this for different reasons, because it brings up a lot of introspective things for myself, wanting to be the person that I can be. I haven't always been the person that I should have been. And I'm thankful for learning and experiencing and learning from your mistakes, or learning from experiences and sharing those things, your experience, strength, and hope. I'm thankful for my uncles. My Uncle Lupe is amazing. I love him. Thankful for my brothers. My brother Joseph, he's an amazing father. Just goes to show that even though maybe you don't have the traditional form of fatherhood or manliness in your life or example, there are people out there like the Big Brothers, Big Sisters program that help you to understand and mentor others, which is very important. Which is why I was saying earlier, using your voice for others and to help others, because we should never feel alone in these things, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of different ways to spiritually connect, emotionally, whatever the case may be. So I just want to say thank you for, taking the time to hear my perspective on what makes a man and the definition of a man. And I'm thankful to know so many of you great, amazing men and women out there who are doing the right best thing, and standing up for good, standing up for others who, standing up to bullies, to jerks. And I feel like there's so much more. I just can't gather it all. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, an emotional topic for me, and that's okay, because I'm still learning how to be the best man I can be for myself, for the people I love, and, the wonderful state of Texas and hopefully the United States. So don't forget to follow Mr. United States on Facebook and the Mr. United States on Instagram. Also, my Instagram at filthy_gorgeous_Gabe. I love it. It's just a silly thing. And tune in for the pageant in July. Thank you, Morris. I appreciate it. Yeah, Morris, I've known Morris. I met Morris. I was just young and in my 20s. And, I was very thankful. You are an amazing man as well. And I'm thankful for, the things that you've taught me. And, there's a lot of stuff we can laugh and kid about. And, there's always like a solid message from people that you love and care about out there. And, you see their strength. You see them persevere through hardships. And it's how you carry yourself afterwards or how you pick yourself back up. So I really love and appreciate it. Thank you so much, Morris. I appreciate you seeing me grow up from a silly boy in South Padre running around waiting at tables. And yes, don't forget to tune into the Mr. United States pageant in July. I'll try posting some more as the competition goes on since it's virtual this year. And, I'm excited. And thank you so much, guys. I love you. Have a great weekend. And have fun and spread love and joy. Thank you so much. Bye.